90 years ago, the Virginia Farm Bureau made our local farmers a promise to protect and preserve a way of life they work so hard to establish. Today, our insurance agents work to protect all Virginians, not just farmers. We want to keep Virginia, Virginia. More information is at farmbureauadvantage.com.
The remarkable soybean. From its oil, we get products like ink, candles, and paint. From its meal, we get a high-protein fiber used in foods and animal feeds. Natural soy is replacing chemicals and products you use every day. You can learn more about soybeans at vasoybean.com.
Children love a good story, and children can learn a lot about agriculture by reading a good story. This week, we talk with the authors of a new children's book about farming. Joel and Rachel Salatin of Polyface Farm, and boy, do they have a story to tell. We also have a report this week about fall harvest conditions, plus some tips on cleaning up your vegetable garden at this time of the year. Welcome to this episode of Virginia Farming. I'm Jeff Ishii. Harvest season in Virginia is slowly winding down as we roll into the month of November. More than 95% of the corn for grain crop is now off the field, and Virginia soybeans are also going into the bin at a rapid pace. Dry conditions in late October have been good for some farmers, while for others, not so good. Orchards report a more intense flavor profile in apples, and Virginia wine grape growers are clearly excited about the quality of grapes harvested earlier this fall. Pasture conditions, however, they're suffering with the deficit in soil moisture. Virginia's Agriculture in the Classroom is celebrating 25 years. Sherry McKinney has the story.
These children may not realize it, but the lesson plan they're working on today started when their parents were in elementary school. The Virginia Foundation for Agriculture in the Classroom is celebrating its silver anniversary this year.
Agriculture in the Classroom started in the early 1980s as a nationwide effort. And here in Virginia, the program really got ramped up in the late 80s and early 1990s. But a lot of the leadership of the program realized that in order for us to continue to grow and to really become a significant program at the Farm Bureau, we needed to raise money outside of Farm Bureau. And so in 1992, the Agriculture in the Classroom Foundation was founded, and since then we've just been able to grow and expand and do more and more outreach through the generous support of our donors.
Since 1992, the nonprofit affiliate of the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation has collected more than $5 million in donations to support the work of Virginia Agriculture in the Classroom. The program provides resources for educators and volunteers based on agriculture lessons to use in the state's classrooms and other community events.
Well, as you know, the general population is multiple generations removed from the farm and from where their food and basic needs are produced. Also, you're dealing with students who are more and more involved in technology and in industries and business outside of agriculture. So there's less and less of an understanding for that, which shows a need to make our citizenry more agriculturally literate.
AITC has grown from a program that reached nearly 100 educators in its first year to reaching 2,000 teachers this year.
In 25 years, we estimate 1.2 million children in Virginia have heard about our program or been exposed to agriculture in the classroom. Annually, we impact a little over 200,000 students a year. But in Virginia, there are about 13 million children who are between preschool and high school age. So during that school age time, we have a lot more opportunity to impact and grow.
From the beginning, the foundation has created innovative programs and resources designed to pair agricultural content with core curriculum. Jessica Pittman, a first grade teacher in Caroline County, was chosen as the AITC Teacher of the Year for her efforts to incorporate agriculture into classroom activities. For her, the program's online resources are a huge benefit for her daily lesson plans.
The resources that Ag in the Classroom have align with our Virginia standards of learning. So anytime I have a standard of learning that I'm teaching, I can always go on their website, on their matrix, and find one that aligns with what I'm teaching so that I'm able to easily and quickly find a lesson that integrates agriculture with what I'm teaching. It's already written for me. I don't have to come up with it. That's the best part as a teacher.
We have a brand new website out that has much curriculum, videos, and even lessons that children can have interactive pieces. So whether you're in a classroom setting or you're at some type of field day or festival setting, these offerings are there for you.
Besides the continuing education programs for teachers, AITC has diversified to include outreach by volunteers and direct-to-student projects inside and outside of the classroom. During Virginia's annual Agriculture Literacy Week, more than 1,000 volunteers read agriculture-related books to nearly 50,000 students across the state. More than 40 grants have provided children with interactive experiences, such as school gardens, farm-themed field trips, and agricultural field days. To find out more information on the Agriculture in the Classroom Foundation, visit their website at agintheclass.org.
Thank you, Sherry, for that report. Well, September the 30th was the end of the fiscal year for the Certified Angus Beef brand. It turns out 2017 was a pretty good year for the program. Bob Cervera has the story.
A third year of herd expansion. The world's largest branded beef program knew it would have both a challenge and an opportunity with supply heading into the 2017 fiscal year. Ranching, retail, and food service partners took full advantage.
2017 for Certified Angus Beef will mark the 13th consecutive year of growth. It'll mark the 11th record sales year in a row, and now the second time that Certified Angus Beef brand sales have tallied more than £1 billion, coming in at $1.120 billion as we close our fiscal year.
That increase came from all areas. Each division, from international to food service to retail, saw growth. John Sticka first credits cattlemen and women for producing more high-quality beef to sell.
This past year, we had a record 29.6% of all Angus cattle meet our 10 specifications for quality. And so that says a lot about what cattlemen have built. And to give that some perspective, if you go back to 2006, Certified Angus Beef acceptance rates were only 14%. And if you look on that on a carcass count basis, Certified Angus Beef only represented 6.6% of the entire fed cattle industry at that time.
In 2006, USDA Select was 37.5% of the total. Today, CAB makes up 18.4% of the entire fed cattle industry, a greater percentage than Select.
Cattlemen have responded in a big way, and I think it says a lot about how the beef industry has aligned with consumers, and in doing so has created a more sustainable future for all of us involved.
With success comes the question, can the brand continue to grow year after year?
Well, you've got to have passion to think you can get it done, but there's got to be a lot of metrics in place to help make that hope and that passion a reality. Without a doubt, the fact that cattlemen stepped up like they did over the last, honestly, 11 years as it relates to our brand really set us up to add more fuel to the fire, so to speak, by strong marketing, committed partners, and that's really what makes it all work. Through the brand, we're all a part of something bigger than ourselves, and when you put it all together, that's what this successful year represents.
I'm Bob Cervera.
Thank you, Bob, for that report. A Virginia farmer and his daughter have written a new book about agriculture. It involves a farmer named Greg and a pigeon named Patrick. Joel and Rachel Salatin of Polyface Farms in Augusta County, they had a lot to think about when creating the theme and the characters for this new children's book. But primarily, they wanted to focus on a storyline about farming that would capture the imagination of kids. It's coming up next during Ag Insights. Patrick is a pigeon. And as we find out in this new book from Joel Salatin and Rachel Salatin, Patrick has a great grass adventure. The Salatin family operates Polyface Farm in Augusta County, arguably the most famous farm in Virginia and perhaps one of the most famous farms in all the United States. Joel Salatin has met with a lot of influential people over the years. He has been called by the New York Times the high priest of the pasture. His expertise on grazing and pasture management has been well documented via numerous books and films, which also feature Salatin's unique production and marketing methods. Joel is an accomplished author himself, having written more than 10 books with titles such as Family Friendly Farming, Holy Cows in Hog Heaven, You Can Farm, as well as his most recent book entitled Your Successful Farm Business. Rachel Salatin has a love for art and has been dabbling with art her whole life. She studied at the Art Institute of Charlotte after receiving her associates in business management from Blue Ridge Community College. She has worked with the Artisan Center of Virginia, as well as the Beverly Street Studio School, a visual arts nonprofit located in Stanton, Virginia. Salatin says she enjoys everything from floral design to interior design. She's now the executive director of Beverly Street Studio School. We caught up with Rachel at her office in Stanton and asked her to talk about the inspiration for this new children's book about agriculture.
And the real purpose is, of course, the educational element. It's not just the storybook of Patrick and Greg the Grass Farmer, but it does have an educational element to it. So that's what we always kept coming back to in the illustration, the writing, the inspiration, and everything. Now, Patrick the Pigeon was really inspired by this idea of who's going to ask the questions that anybody might be too afraid to ask. Do you know what I mean? Some of those basic questions that are just like, well, what does grass mean? How does that affect the environment? How does that, what animals eat it and how that changes the ecosystem and all of those things. So Patrick really came about with what is a bird, what is an animal or a character that anyone can relate to bring this story to be a bridge, to be a connector to Greg the Grass Farmer and the farm. And we thought, what better way than a pigeon? Because everywhere you are, there's pigeons.
We talked with her dad, Joel Salatin, as he was making an appearance at a book fair and agriculture education event in the Shenandoah Valley. He explains his own inspiration for this new book.
Patrick's Great Grass Adventure with Greg the Grass Farmer. I've been wanting to do a children's book for a long time, desperately wanting to kind of capture the hearts and the imagination of children early, to get them understanding some of these these ecological farm concepts. And so many of the children's books are real stereotypical, the horse gets his oats, and you've got the little red gambrel barn and the silo and the rooster on the fence. And so I wanted to present grass farming, from a perspective of reality. So I've been wanting to do a children's book for a long, long time. And the problem was, children's books are hard. I mean, I teach a lot. When you do a children's book, the story has to carry the teaching has to be subtle, and the story has to go forward. So the breakthrough was when my daughter Rachel, who I wanted to illustrate it, she's real artsy, and she said, well, Dad, Greg the Grass Farmer needs a sidekick. So, well, what kind of sidekick? Tonto, Robin on Batman. She said, well, it could be an animal to tell the story. So you have a storyline and you have discovery through the eyes of somebody that doesn't know.
We asked Joel to talk about the key characters in the book and to summarize the theme of Patrick's Great Grass Adventure.
So the primary character is Patrick Pigeon. And Patrick Pigeon is this juvenile pigeon living in a city, in a church steeple, and sees Greg at the farmer's market and says, he looks like an interesting guy, and flies over his truck going home to the country and ends up on his farm and gets to encounter grass, paddock shifts, electric fence, and the whole concept of controlled grazing through the bird's eye view and understanding of a pigeon.
Rachel goes more in depth about Patrick the Pigeon and describes one of the great adventures he experienced.
So I got the writing from Dad, and when I was reading it and everything, I kind of realized that actually Greg the Grass Farmer and Patrick the Pigeon are actually secondary characters to the grass. So that's why we put that on the cover. That's why a lot of the colors and illustration kind of go around this grass as the big concept. And that it's not just, something in a park or that you might see a tuft of by, an intersection or something, but that grass is such a bigger part of our ecosystem. And so that's kind of where I went with it. So these two kind of helpful characters help really introduce this idea of grass, and that it's fun, and that it's it's not only soft, it's fun to play in. Patrick has this scene where he falls off the fence into a lush part of grass, and he starts seeing like the different colors and the different textures, and looking through the sun falling down and kind of what it is, and then all the bugs and stuff that the grass houses for him to eat, and then all this stuff. So I think grass is the main character. And that's kind of what's hidden throughout the book as you read it.
She says the story slowly evolved when she and her dad explored the various ideas surrounding Patrick's great adventures. One involved the inclusion of a local farmers market.
So again, when Dad and I were talking about this, he, wanted to kind of start right from the beginning at the farm. And I was thinking, well, unless you're a farm kid, how do you get to the farm? Do you know what I mean? Where do you find it? So we thought, well, farmers markets, that's one way that anyone, whether you grew up on a farm or grew up in the city or suburbs or wherever, can associate with a farmer's market, and finding that that's a great place to find your local farmer. And so Patrick the pigeon literally stumbles upon this by seeing an open photo album on Greg the Grass Farmer's desk or table that shows chickens and other fowl, I guess, that he relates to, pecking and in the grass, and it's softer, and his little talons don't go like clickety-clack on the hard surface of the concrete. And so he starts connecting, and that's what brings him to the farm ultimately.
Joel talks about how special it was to work with his own daughter to develop this new book.
Oh, I can't even describe the joy of that. I mean, Daniel and I work together on the farm all the time, and so people really associate Daniel with the farm. Rachel sometimes plays second fiddle, and of course, second born and the girl and all that. You have all those things, and so what a delight and a privilege and a blessing for her now to share my name on a book and to be, equal co-developers. I mean, she really made the project happen. I was stuck. I was stuck with the storyline and with how do you move this forward. And she punched through it all with the ideas, and then of course did the illustrations, which have a very heavy Stanton, a very heavy Stanton kind of theme to them, and we just think it's really cool to be able to do the project together, and I'm really excited to have her, equal partner in this endeavor.
Rachel says her family, they know a thing or two about working together as a team.
I think that probably the best way to describe going from a kid working probably for your dad is becoming an adult and working with your dad. I mean, that's the whole thing about growing up and age and how it all kind of, you eventually become the same age, So this whole project, I think, was just finally working as the same level, two kind of professionals, if you will, coming together. And then, it's funny because a lot of people ask, like, how is the collaborative work environment and everything? And I really think that there wasn't a lot day to day. He really gave me this story, and it was so easy for me to connect to because I had lived it, that I was able to really kind of the first draft come up with thumbnail sketches and the first illustration that he loved because I was there. And so it was a very easy collaborative process once we got started with it.
Even though he has written more than 10 books about agriculture and family farming, Joel says this new children's book, it was a real challenge.
So I will tell you this, I've written a lot of books, but I have never spent this much time on this few words on anything I've ever written. It was very, very difficult. but very rewarding.
The initial reception to this new children's book has been positive, according to Rachel.
We've never done anything like this. Neither my dad or myself have done anything like this. So this is completely brand new. We put it out there. The response has been really well. We're excited to see a lot of teachers actually wanting to teach it in their classroom to like elementary and middle schoolers. So that's very exciting to see the educational element that we didn't foresee when we wrote the book. And we've made it so that there could be a series and it could develop into completely new characters and additions. And the idea is that each book would teach something.
Once again, this new children's book was written by Virginia farmer Joel Salatin and his daughter Rachel Salatin. It is entitled Patrick's Great Grass Adventure. Well, fall is a good time of the year to concentrate on cleaning up your vegetable garden. Let's learn the process from the ground up with Chris Mullins.
We're at Randolph Farm at Virginia State University, and it's starting to get a little cool outside. You've probably gone through the summer, you've had your great garden, and you're kind of finished up, and you might be a little tired. So it might be time to think about cleaning that area up and getting ready for next spring. Anything you can do now to help yourself out then is going to be a great thing. Now, some of you, though, are still growing crops into the fall, like kale and lettuce and collards and cabbage. Those things do great. But some of you might just be ready to clean that garden area up, get those things done that need to be done, and get ready for next spring. Now, one of the first things you might think about when you're cleaning the garden up and getting ready for the winter is to get all your implements, all your tools and things out of the garden. Things like tomato sticks like this. You get them up, get them out of the way, get them put away so that they'll stay straight and they won't bow on you. Hose, cultivating hose like that, they can move all those inside, maybe oil them up, clean them up, get them out of the weather. Garden hoses, any kind of irrigation material that you've got, you want to get those out of the way, get them drained so nothing will freeze in those, and get them up and into the garage or into the barn. So that's one good thing, to get those things all out of the garden. You know, and also this time of the year is a good time to think about amending your garden. And you can start by doing a soil test and see exactly what you might need into your garden, whether you need some sort of amendment like lime, or maybe if you need some compost. Compost can be a great thing to put on in the fall. You could take an area like this, till it up, get it ready, put your compost down, 2 to 3 inches of compost over the area, your garden area, and then incorporate that in. And that's going to do a lot of things. That's going to increase your drainage later on in the spring. It's going to add organic matter, and it's going to add some fertility to the plants that you're going to grow in the spring. And even if you want to put some cover crops in right now, that's going to help you with that fertility. Well, this is another patch here, and you can see that we've got some peppers growing, we've got some eggplant growing. And I would encourage you, if you've got those things still growing in your garden, you keep those going as long as possible. Get that last pepper off there, get that last eggplant off there. And after you've done that and you clean up your garden like we talked about before, it might be time to try something different. I've always wanted to put a cover crop down, and this might be the season to do it. We got a nice cover crop growing here. And a cover crop is basically plants that are going to grow on the ground. We don't want to keep the ground bare through the winter time because you'll get a lot of soil erosion. So you want to put something on it. And this cover crop can also, in the springtime, be tilled in, maybe about 3 to 4 weeks before you plant. This can all be tilled in, and what it'll do is decompose, and it'll add organic matter to the soil, and it might even add some nutrients. So it can be a real nice addition to your garden before you plant in the spring. Some ones that you might try are like hairy vetch and rye, Austrian winter pea, some of those, and there's others that would do very well for you and can help be a good amendment to your garden for the springtime. Well, for more information about cover crops or cleaning your garden up for the winter, contact your local county extension office and talk to your master gardener. For From the Ground Up, I'm Chris Mullins, and we'll see you next time.
Our Pearl of Wisdom this week is from the famous actor John Wayne, who portrayed a lot of characters on screen, including farmers and ranchers. It was old John Wayne that once said, "Courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway." Send in your own Pearl of Wisdom through our website at virginiafarming.com. Have a great week, everyone. I'm Jeff Ishii for Virginia farming. And now for your Ag Trivia question of the week. The answer when we return.
90 years ago, the Virginia Farm Bureau made our local farmers a promise to protect and preserve a way of life they work so hard to establish. We want to keep Virginia, Virginia. Anyone can be a Farm Bureau member, and there's a local Farm Bureau in every county. More information is at vafarmbureau.org.
Virginia soybean farmers are hard at work growing soybeans to produce products you use every day. Candles, soaps, even crayons can be made from soybeans. Remember, when you buy soy, you're helping to support American jobs, the economy, and our nation's energy security.
And now the answer to your trivia question of the week. The mechanical reaper was invented in Virginia by Cyrus McCormick in the year 1831. The famous Cyrus McCormick Farm and Museum is located in Rafine, Virginia, and is open year-round.